We must protect the position of the American dollar as a pillar of monetary stability around the world.
Are we heading towards a multipolar world where the dollar is no longer the top player? Get ready to witness a groundbreaking move as China gears up to elevate the status of its beloved currency and plans to wipe out the US dollar.
Will the Chinese yuan replace the dollar as the world's most important currency?
China is now trying to replace the US dollar with their currency in global trade.
If the yuan topples the US dollar, Xi Jinping gets to paint a mirage of economic reform. He gets to be a hero at home and outside.
The mighty dollar, it's the ultimate weapon in America's arsenal, granting Washington an unprecedented level of political and economic power. With its unparalleled influence, the United States holds the reins to sanction other nations, cutting them off from the global economy and crippling their progress. But that's not all. When the US government splurges on spending, the rest of the world eagerly snaps up its debt in the form of T-bills. It's a powerful dynamic that cements the US's position as a global economic leader and its currency as a symbol of unrivaled might. For over 8 decades, the US dollar has been reigning as the top dog in the global economy, ever since the establishment of the Bretton Woods system in 1945. This comes as no surprise, given the dollar's unwavering reputation for security, strength and stability. In fact, the greenback has stood the test of time, weathering many economic storms and emerging victorious. But what exactly makes the US dollar so special? Well, for starters, it holds the coveted title of a reserve currency. This means that it's widely accepted and trusted by countries all over the world, making it a go-to for international trade and financial transactions. From Tokyo to Timbuktu, the dollar is the universal language of money. And it's not just a matter of popularity either. The dollar's global dominance is backed by a rock-solid foundation of economic policies, financial institutions, and regulatory frameworks. The US Federal Reserve, for instance, plays a critical role in maintaining the dollar's stability by adjusting interest rates and managing the money supply. This level of oversight and regulation inspires confidence among investors, businesses, and governments alike. And now, in a bid to break free from the shackles of dollar dependence, China has unleashed a flurry of measures that have set the financial world ablaze. This global giant has been at the forefront of a paradigm shift in the world's monetary landscape as the country seeks to reduce its exposure to the greenback and promote its own currency on the world stage. Xi is on a mission to convince other countries to join him in his quest to ditch the dollar. Their charm offensive has been spreading like wildfire, and countries around the world are starting to take notice. Their persuasive tactics and promises of mutually beneficial deals are slowly but surely shaking the foundations of the world's existing financial order. Obvious to mention that, as the US has ramped up its sanctions on Russia in response to the annexation of Crimea, Moscow has turned to China, and together, the two powers have formed an unbreakable bond that has sent shockwaves across the globe. The yuan has become the preferred currency for the bilateral trade, with more and more transactions being settled in this mighty currency. The central banks of Russia and China have also been quietly accumulating less of the dollar, instead preferring to hold more yuan and even other alternative assets. As the winds of change sweep across the global financial landscape, it's clear that Russia and China are leading the change towards a new era of currency independence. With their sights set on a future where the dollar is no longer the king of the hill, they're working tirelessly to bring others along for the ride. Buckle up, because the ride's gonna get wild. So what happens if such a situation takes place? When a nation's currency conquers the international market, the financial game changes drastically. It's like scoring the winning goal in a championship game. It's a big deal. The currency becomes the ultimate payment method for global transactions, just like the US dollar has been for decades. But that's not all. It also gets the coveted title of a reserve currency. In other words, the world views the currency as a trustworthy and reliable asset to hold, especially during an economic crisis. Investors worldwide feel confident parking their funds in the government's bonds because they know that they can access their money without any hassle when the need arises. And guess what? This confidence pays off. The government can borrow money from the global market at incredibly low interest rates. This translates to less money spent on interest and more funds available for other developmental projects. Not just that, international investors also love to invest in businesses that operate in the same currency. It simplifies the capital raising process and helps these companies to grow and expand beyond borders. It's no wonder that nations strive to make their currency a global one. The benefits are simply incredible. Now let's dive into the fascinating intricacies of the Chinese economic model, which has a complex relationship with its American counterpart. While the Chinese model relies heavily on American economic inputs, there are some notable differences that set it apart. For instance, the Chinese central bank is paper fiat backed and lacks any political independence from the party, with backing coming from the People's Bank of China. On the flip side, large Chinese companies have begun to embrace equity indexes and corporate debt, showing an increased amount of privatization. However, these disparities between Chinese and American models are anything but subtle. China has recently unveiled a cutting-edge central bank-backed digital currency, taking their regime of surveillance and control of funds to a whole new level. This move represents a bold attempt to regulate the behavior of each individual, from directing wholesale funds in the banking system to scrutinizing every penny spent by citizens. The Chinese system diverges from its American counterpart in many critical ways, with the majority of these variations being detrimental to individual rights, autonomy, and freedoms. Furthermore, with a robust economy and thriving trade, China has all the firepower it needs to make this happen. However, the real challenge lies in persuading foreign central banks to jump aboard the renminbi bandwagon and start holding the Chinese yuan. But fear not, the People's Bank of China has joined forces with the Bank of International Settlements, and together with 5 other countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Chile, they are making strides towards this mission. To kickstart the renminbi liquidity arrangement, each of these countries has agreed to contribute a whopping 15 billion yuan. Let us tell you, the Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange made an electrifying announcement that left the energy world buzzing with excitement. The stage was set for a historic event as China's very first LNG trade with yuan settlement was successfully concluded with CNOOC, China's national oil firm, and Total Energies, the prominent French energy business. The transaction involved a whopping 65,000 tons of LNG and was sourced all the way from the United Arab Emirates. Sources confirm that Total Energies was involved in the trade, but the company remained tight-lipped and declined to make any further comments to the press, by prioritizing the use of its own currency, the yuan, for setting oil and gas trades. With this strategic move, China aims to increase the demand for the yuan and cement its position as a key player in the world's financial markets. Amidst a grand visit to the royal city of Riyadh, President Xi Jinping took the world by storm with his declaration of utilizing the Shanghai market to its full potential. The plan was to conduct smooth and seamless yuan settlements for oil and gas trades, making way for a groundbreaking collaboration between China and Saudi Arabia. Having said that, let's take a look at some expert opinions. A squad of esteemed economists, including Camille Macker of France's Central Bank and Barry Eichengreen of the University of California, Berkeley, have unveiled a game-changing paper that will have you on the edge of your seat. So what's the scoop? Well, the Buffins have been pondering whether the yuan has what it takes to become a global reserve currency, and let's just say their findings are far from dull. While they admit that booting the dollar off its throne won't be a walk in the park, they've spotted some fascinating evidence that suggests yuan reserves are on the up in countries with close trade links to China. Could it be that the yuan's star is rising? What's your thoughts on this? Don't forget to share your valuable opinions with us in the comments section. And this brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss out on latest videos. Also, feel free to share your videos with your family, friends, and colleagues who may also benefit from the information shared on our channel. See you in the next one. Until then, peace.